Repeat after me. Take a deep breath in. Fill your belly. Fill your chest. Right up to your shoulders. And again, fill your belly. Fill your chest. Right up to the backs of your shoulders. One more time. Fill your belly. Fill your chest. Right up to the backs of your shoulders. And this time, hold that breath inside of you. Hold it inside as long as you can. And then, whenever you're ready, breathe out with a sigh as long and as loud as you dare. So enough of these extroverts who like to bounce around on stage. I'm an introvert, and people don't often understand what that means. I'm not shy, but as an introvert, look, here's how you'll get it. The most exciting thing you hear as an introvert is when you realize that plans have been canceled for the evening. You know you're an introvert when you're okay on stage in front of the room or in the restroom, but in the middle of the room making small talk, that's what you can't handle. Here's what I don't want you to know about me. I was 11 years old, and I moved from my primary school to my secondary school in London. And I realized I loved drama. I loved being in the school play. And every year, they had a school play, and I'd audition, and I'd be in the school play. And it was fun, and it was scary, and it was exciting, and I enjoyed it. And then 2 years into high school, it was a Shakespeare play. It was A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I auditioned for the play, and the head teacher who was casting us called us in, so I'm 12 years old, and we go and sit down, and he tells me, and at this point, I'm 11, so for those first 5 years of secondary school, it was a boys' school. And he told me something that horrified me. He said, I'm casting you in the role of a woman. And we're a boys' school, so we had to, if any play that some people, but you're 12 years old in a British high school back then, the worst thing that people would mock you for or laugh you at is they'd you get it. That was the worst possible thing for me, to be cast in a role of a woman. It wasn't just a woman, it was a fairy. It wasn't just a fairy, it was Titania from A Midsummer Night's Dream, who's the queen of the fairies. So I say it with a sense of fun right now, but I was mortified, and I went home and told my parents, and I cried. And I went to bed at night, and I cried. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night thinking about this head teacher and how much I hated him. And I cried some more. It was only a few years ago when I was reflecting on this story that I realized I didn't know I could say no. It had never dawned on me. It had never crossed my mind that I could say no. So I played this character in the play. And I hated the rehearsals. I hated doing the play. It was even worse. It hadn't crossed my mind until the actual play the night before when we do the dress rehearsals and I have to get made up and then wear a dress. It was mortifying. And it never crossed my mind that I could say no. You know what I do as a coach? I do one thing. At the heart of what I do is I help powerful people remember just how powerful they are. I help powerful people remember just how powerful they are. I don't share that as a cool mission statement for you to write down because it's something that every coach should do. That's mine because it comes from my story. It comes from my pain. I spent most of my life lacking confidence and feeling I was powerless. Here's the thing about confidence. Because when I first became a coach, I started to study it. I was fascinated. Who are these people who seem to be naturally confident? I seem to meet them often, and yet it's so missing for me. And I learned the opposite. I learned how to fake it. I learned how to look good. But on the inside, it didn't match. And what I learned as I studied confidence was that I was looking at the wrong thing. I was comparing how I felt on the inside with how they looked on the outside. And they didn't serve me because I had no clue what was really going on. And what I want to do today is break away some of those stories. For some of us, when we come on stage and we look confident, I want to share all those places where we got it wrong, we made mistakes, where we failed on a regular basis. I've been sitting next to Alexis the whole morning, and she's felt how nervous I've been this morning. I didn't do those sighs at the beginning just for you. I did them for me, because it reminds me to get back in my body. It reminds me to be grounded. My journey as a professional coach started 10 years ago this year. I was a teacher by background. I was a high school teacher. Spent 15 years as a teacher, and I was a vice principal. I taught in Africa, I taught in Southeast Asia, I taught in inner city London, and back in 2016, I went to work for a very inspiring boss. We were going to change the way that, nature of education, change the way schools were run. And within a few weeks of me arriving, he was actually pushed out by someone at a government level. New boss arrived, and what do they say? Last in, first out. She wanted her own team. So unceremoniously, within a couple of weeks of her arriving, I was called into the office and fired. And I wish I had a cool story about that, but frankly, I cried. I asked for my job. Even though I didn't like this woman and her vision, I cried and asked not to be fired. But it didn't work, and I ran away. I make it sound cool now because I went to stay on a beach in Thailand for a while, but I ran away. I was humiliated, I was embarrassed, and I went off to Thailand. But I'd been trained in coaching for 2 years because I was training the leaders of our organization, and I had these coaching playing cards, coaching questions on the back of them. And I'd sit on this beach in Thailand, and people would come over and say, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, "It's called coaching." And they'd say, "Can I play?" And it turns out it was a great introduction to this, a great insight I had that people love to reflect on their life, and especially if they're out on a beach. Who did I meet who has a retreat center out in Southeast Asia? It's a great environment, right? Where people just take a stock because they slow down. All the research says the greatest insights come on the beach, in nature, in the shower. So I'm sitting here talking to people, and I remember this one woman said, "You know, you've absolutely changed my life." And it didn't compute, because I was attached to my job title. I loved being a vice principal, and it did not compute. And it began to sink in, and somehow I had this realization that I wanted to be a professional coach. Came to the United States, came to do a workshop about coaching, but I quit it after a couple of days because it was not very good, and ended up at another training, ended up in San Francisco, met Guy, who's over here, ended up one of his trainings by chance, and finished a 3-4 day training with Guy, some of the most transformational work I'd ever done. I didn't even know what transformation meant back then. My whole system had shifted, and he said, the last words he said to us as we left were, "Don't make any life-changing decisions in the next 2 weeks." 10 days later, I proposed to the woman who's now my wife. I knew after 9 days that I wanted to be with her, but I like to take my time on things, so I waited a day. We've now been married 10 years, we have 2 kids. But that was the start of this journey into transformation that I've been on. I wrote a piece a couple of years back called "How to Become an Overnight Success as a Coach in 46 Years." And I want to take you into that journey for you. How many of you are completely new to coaching? How many of you have been coaching a couple of years? And actually, okay. How many of you have been coaching 5 years or more? Nice. Anyone 10 years? Great, thanks. Let's dive into this journey. But first, I'm going to invite you to listen a specific way. Most of us listen for agreement. We listen for agreement. Oh, I like what she said. Yeah, I like that. I'll write that down. I like that. I don't like that one. I'm not going to write that down. We're listening to see what do we agree with and what do we disagree with. So we have our filter for how the world should be, and we see what fits in it, and we want more of that, and our filter for how the world should be and what we don't like, so we keep that out. I'm going to invite you to listen, not just to me, but for the entire weekend that we're here. Listen as if you're listening to a piece of music. You don't listen to a piece of music and go, I like that note. Ooh, I don't like that note. You just let it flow over you. Let it flow over you this weekend. Then there'll come a moment when you can decide, yeah, I want more of this. I want less of this. Or even, you know what? I don't like this one. This doesn't fit with my way of seeing the world, but you know what? I'm going to lean into it anyway. Don't listen for agreement. Listen as if you're listening to a piece of music. This says distinctionary. Distinctionary. Grab a piece of paper and at the top of the page write the word distinctionary. A distinctionary is like a dictionary. It's going to be a list of distinctions. When you have distinctions, you have discernment. When you have discernment, you're on your way to mastery. I don't have many distinctions around wine. It's red or white. It's cheap or expensive. My favorite one, it has a nice picture on the bottle, or it doesn't. That's usually how I choose it. If you're a wine drinker, you have lots and lots of distinctions around wine. It gives you mastery over the kind of wines that you drink. In coaching, the more distinctions that you have, the more power you have. The more that you can help your clients have distinctions in their life to discern their world, the more power they have. So listen today for the distinctions I want to illustrate. I've already given you one. What's the first distinction I gave you? Who actually heard it? Yeah, someone's... Yeah, you can listen for agreement, or you can listen just in order to soak it in. Listen for insight. Let's call it listen for insight. So let me just separate this. On this side, I'm going to write the word exponential. Exponential. And on this side, conventional. Exponential and conventional. Listening for agreement is the conventional way to listen. Listening for insight is an exponential way to listen. An exponential way to listen is what's going to transform your life and your business. So, this is life. And this is the default future that most people are living into. Every time you meet a client, every one of us right now is living into a default future. You can take where you are now and where you were back then, draw a line between the two, and extrapolate into the future. It's usually a little bit above the horizontal. For some people, it's actually horizontal. For a few people, it goes down. But most people, you can extrapolate into their future. Then, there are a few people who live an exponential life. And here's the thing about an exponential curve, that for much of it, it mirrors a conventional line. And you have no clue right now where you are on this line, if indeed at all you're living this exponential way of living. I'm writing my second book right now, and the title, we're still working on the full title, but the words exponential success are the title of the book so far. It's a book about exponential success. Here's the map of life that most of us live into. We begin our life and our business in struggle mode. Struggle is painful. The emotion attached to it is pain. Anyone in struggle mode right now in their business is complicated, it's confusing, nothing seems to be working, it's really painful and uncomfortable. Is anyone in that place right now? Yeah, some of us are, right? And then you move beyond struggle. And what comes next is, so let's put this up here. Struggle. What comes next is striving. Struggle's about pain. Striving's actually about joy. You wake up at 4 in the morning, ideas spinning around your head. You can't wait to get started. You're busy coaching clients, working with people until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And you finish your work and people say to you, aren't you tired? And you're just energized. That's the level of business when you get to striving. Anyone in that stage right now in their business? Beyond striving comes this. Conventional success. Conventional success. Stephen Covey said, it's like climbing the ladder of success to get to the top to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. Lily Tomlin said, the trouble with the rat race is even if you win, you're still a rat. I talked to a guy the other day. He'd sold his first business for several $1 million, and he said, I was about to get started on building my next business. He's a consummate entrepreneur, and he said, I caught myself. I realized I'm not happy. I only started this damn business because I thought it would make me happy, and now I've sold it and I'm still not happy. And he caught the trap before he dived into it. The trap is in conventional success that you've been chasing the money and the kudos, and it doesn't give you what you thought you were seeking in the first place. What you hear a lot in conventional success is this phrase, I'm not lonely, but I feel very alone. Anyone at that stage in their life or business where there's this sense of just feeling alone? You've got friends, they're not lonely, but there's a sense of feeling alone, either for you or your clients. Any of you are in that place right now? Or experienced it in a previous business, possibly too? Yeah. And then up here, exponential success. Beyond chasing money, if only I had more money, more time, comes impact. At this level, you're about leaving a legacy, making a contribution, making a difference, and having an impact. You can hear when Ajit and Vishen are talking about what they do, they are looking at that level. You can feel it in Marissa when she's on the stage and she's creating a ripple effect in what she's doing now, not just working with one-on-one clients, but it's going out into the world. At this level of exponential success, you're about leaving a legacy, making a contribution, and having an impact. And that's my context for today. So let me take you back in time. I've been coaching about 5 years. I was on the faculty of a couple of coaching schools, and coaches kept asking me, how are you successful in your business? You seem to be really successful. And I'd been successful in a particular way. I was successful in building a business one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time. I built a business by invitation and referral only. And I began to talk about this, and then I began to write about this. And there came a moment when a guy who's now a friend of mine, Steve Chandler, said, you want to partner together and write a book about this? And I said, you know what, let's do that. And we spent a year writing this, and we published this book. It's called The Prosperous Coach. It came out 3 years ago now. It sold 25,000 copies, and we've never done anything to market it, because it's not a book about how to build a business that way. Steve and I don't understand how to do that. What we understand is relationships, and coaching is a relationship business. It's the only thing Blaine was telling us just now. It's about relationships. The book has 3 sections in it. Deep inner work. You can't take any client any deeper than you've been willing to go yourself. You cannot take a client any deeper than you've gone yourself. So the deep inner work is the first part of this journey. How many of you have a coach right now? How many of you, keep your hands up, how many of you have a coach who you are paying right now? How many have a coach who you are paying more money than you feel comfortable to spend? Your willingness to do that is what separates you out from most coaches out there. Most coaches, there's a problem with our industry, right? The bar to entry is really low. You can get certified online now for free. The bar to entry is really low. The bar to success is really high. And most coaches are not willing to invest in their own coach. It's great to see so many hands raised today. Most coaches are not willing to even feel what it feels like to ask for a big number, and to be told a big number and then pay a big number to their coach. So when they imagine, you've heard a couple of the speakers this morning, Ajit and Blaine, talking about big numbers. If you've never paid a big number, it's hard to ask for a big number. So in The Prosperous Coach, I slowed everything down for people. I helped them build relationships, one conversation at a time. Adam Grant wrote a book a few years ago called Give and Take. Any of you read Give and Take? He draws a distinction between givers and takers. A giver, we get that, right? Someone who's always generous, always giving to other people. And we all know what it feels like to be in the presence of a taker. Somebody wants stuff from us, we feel that. And there are also matchers. I'll give to you if you give to me. Which of those 3 groups of people do you think are the most successful? Givers, takers, or matchers? Take a moment to think about it. I'm going to ask you to raise your hands for each one. So the most successful in life and in business, the givers, the takers, or the matchers. So if you think it's the givers, raise your hand. If you think it's the takers, raise your hand. If you think it's the matchers, raise your hand. Okay. Now, who do you think are the least successful in life and business? The givers, the takers, or the matchers? Who thinks it's the givers who are the least successful? Who thinks it's the matchers who are the least successful? Who thinks it's the takers who are the least successful? Okay. So here's where it gets interesting. The most successful people in life and business are the givers. The least successful people in life and business are the givers. So I've spent the last 10 years reflecting on what are the distinctions between the givers who succeed and the givers who struggle. And that's really key. If you want to use this approach to build a business, it was really strange when Ajit and I began our conversation, and because I had to say to the guys, you know, this isn't a book about how to do what you do really, really well. Most coaches fall into the trap of the moment you turn on online, the marketers are really noisy. By definition, it's their world online. And so we can get seduced really easily into thinking, I need a website, a business card, SEO coaching, I don't even know. You need all this stuff that's needed online. It's not that you can't use that, but if you want to build a practice with a few high-performing, high-paying clients, this is a book about a different approach. And he said, yeah, we totally get that. And it's a refreshing voice that's different in the world. So what blew me away was Ajit and I were talking a few months ago. We were filming, and actually he told me that he'd been using these principles himself. I had no idea. I didn't realize. I thought he just liked the concept, and he's been applying them, and you hear the impact of it. It's really cool. This stuff really works. If you're a person who likes to build relationships, likes to be in conversation, and how can you not be if you're a coach? Then I wanted to create a way for people to build a business one conversation at a time. So the first distinction is serve, don't sell. This is a business about serving. It's not about doing 20-minute taster sessions. How many of you were taught, give 20-minute taster sessions? That's the way to do it. I see that often out in the world. This is a business about spending time with somebody and serving them so powerfully that their whole world changes. Serve, don't sell. Make sure you put these distinctions in the right section of your dictionary. Sell the experience, not the concept. Sell the experience of coaching, not the concept. Because how do you explain coaching? You and me, we're going to sit in a room and we're going to talk, or maybe it'll be on the phone, and your life's going to transform. That's it. People hear that, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you know the truth of it if you've done coaching, if you've been coached. But you can't sell that. That's a concept that's too abstract for people. You want them to be in a room with you and experience the power of the impact of the work that you do. Then they feel it. Sell the experience, not the concept of coaching. So I sat down with a client the other day. No, sorry, let me tell you the story. I got a referral from a current client. And she referred me someone she knows who wants to or needs some personal coaching, going through some issues, and ultra high net worth individuals. And because it was a referral, I forgot everything I've written in the book. I assumed, because I know how highly my client values the work we've done, and she said this, and the person, when I spoke to this woman, she said, I really want to work with you. We spent an hour, no, maybe it was about 30 minutes actually. We were talking about coaching. I didn't give her an experience of coaching. She's only in LA for a short time, so I said, I'll do something I don't normally do. I'll put together a little package where I do a few sessions for you over a couple of days, and it's $20,000. I didn't hear back from her, and I heard back from her partner, and he said, I've done the math on this, Rich. That's over $2,000 an hour. Is that a mistake? And I realized I know what my mistake is. My mistake is I've forgotten everything I teach. I didn't give her an experience of what I do. I wrote back to him and said, actually, my one-on-one clients pay over $100,000. I created something really specific for your partner. But then I invited her to do this. I said, let's take that proposal off the table. Instead, when you come to LA, let's block out 2 hours. Let's spend 2 hours together for a really powerful, intimate, what I call deep coaching experience. Because at the end of that, she'll just know. And I said to her, what I want from you is either a hell yes or a hell no. Either you're in for this 2 hours with me and you show up fully and I have some questions I want you to do in advance of this. You either give me a hell yes or you say hell no, and both are perfect. And she immediately texted back and said, hell yes, I'm in. So I'll sit down with her in a week and we'll see where that goes. But I forgot what I teach, which is to give someone a powerful experience of what you do. Serve them so powerfully they never forget your conversation for the rest of their life, even if they never work with you. Get naked versus look good. I spent so much of my life wanting to look good. I hated this morning when I woke up. I was sweating, I was nervous, I've been feeling all this energy all morning. It's like, when is this fucking gonna go away? When am I gonna finally just relax when I go on stage? And I've realized all I need to do time and again is just call it out. Just call it out. There's a lovely book by Patrick Lencioni called Getting Naked. It's about just that willingness to put yourself out there and be honest with your clients. Tell your clients the things that nobody else would dare to say. Say the things that you're afraid to say to them. And then even let them know, I'm afraid to say this to you, but I'm going to say it anyway. That's what I call serving versus pleasing. Your job is not to please your clients. Your job is to serve them. Say the things that nobody else would dare to say. Look for the things that nobody else can see. I was talking to a client a couple of days ago, and we started working 2 months ago. And she said, Rich, I got on a call, and she said, Rich, I don't know what to tell you about today. I don't know what to bring to the coaching session. She said, I've been wondering, is coaching even right for us right now? I've got no clue what to say. I spoke to my friends, she said, and talking to my friends, telling them I don't know what to bring to my coach. And she said, well, they did point out to me that as a result of our second ever coaching conversation, she's going to be selling her business, which will bring her over $1 million. So a single insight in a coaching session has ended up in over $1 million of impact in the world. And she said, that did dawn on me that maybe I got my value in the second session. But now I don't know what to do. What do I bring? I said, well, here's the thing. I don't coach based around time. I coach based around insight. When you coach based around insight rather than time, everything shifts. People aren't paying you for their time. At the level when you're being paid for your time, it sounds expensive, whether you're saying $100,000 a year or $10,000. Nobody has a budget for coaching. Nobody has it. Well, I do these days, maybe a couple of you do, but most of us don't have a budget for coaching. They've got a budget for their new flat screen TV. They've got a budget for the next vacation. They don't have a budget for coaching. So whatever you say, they have to get resourceful. They have to go out and create the money, or they have to move money around. They have to go home and tell their partner, oh my God, we just spent 2 hours in conversation. It was amazing. And I want to give this guy $10,000. I want to give this woman $20,000. And the husband says, hang on a sec, so what are they going to do with you? And he said, well, we're going to talk more like we did today. You're going to talk to this person, and you're going to pay them $20,000 just to talk to them. I'll talk to you. And then the client begins to go through it. Well, that's right. That's true. You want to serve them so powerfully that they get the transformation and they can model it and demonstrate it to the person they're with. So even the people they're talking to understand this. And when you give them distinctions that they can then share with somebody about how their world has shifted, they can actually demonstrate. It's not just, oh, I feel my world is different. They can begin to illustrate how their world has changed. Connect, invite, create, propose. Connect, invite, create, propose. The 4 elements to what I call the prosperous coach approach. Your first mission is to connect with people. Just connect. One relationship, one conversation at a time. At some point, you have to make an invitation. Hey, would you like to get together? Maybe we could sit down. That issue you're working on, maybe I can help you with that. It's what I do. That's an invitation. Create. That's when you serve people powerfully. That's when you bring your magic. In my book, I talk about 2 hours. It's not a magic number. I have a client right now who has a $20 million business. We spent 2 hours in conversation. And at the end of it, I said, we weren't there. I just said, you want to speak again? She said, I would love that. Let's put another call on the calendar. There's no charge for this. Put another call on the calendar. 2 hours into that conversation, it feels right to keep going. You want to keep going? Yeah, let's do that. We put another call on the calendar. At the end of that call, I made a proposal. I made a $100,000 proposal, and it was edgy for her. See, it doesn't matter how much money people have, they don't have a budget for coaching, so it shifts their world when you suddenly put a number on the table. And I realized, oh, we're rushing, let's slow it down. I said, let's hang on a second, let's take that off the table. If they're not a hell yes, you can call it a hell no before they do. It really feels good on that side. So I called it a hell no. I said, we're rushing, let's slow it down. Let's speak again. We just need an hour this time. And I put together something that was very unique, very different. I don't offer much these days, but it was just a 3-month package for $20,000, and she was in immediately. And I think we'll end up working together for at least a year. It's just how it works when you keep serving people powerfully. So what I did after creating was I made a proposal. It's the piece that coaches are afraid of. This is, I see the nods, this is how much it costs to work with me. You know, what most of us need actually is a menu. We need a menu. You walk into that restaurant, the waiter comes up to you and says, this is what it is. You say, how much is the burger? How much is a bottle of champagne? The waiter doesn't go, you know what, I'm feeling some self-esteem issues today. I'm not sure I can tell you how much the champagne's a bit expensive. I'm not sure you should. It's just a number on a piece of paper. So most of us need a menu. Connect, invite, create, propose. I don't have much time right now to go into this, so get hold of the book. I'll be happy actually to gift you a copy of the ebook or the audio book. We'll put a link in the Facebook page. But what I want to do is get real, because it's easy to be abstract. I want to get real. I want to actually coach some people. So I've spoken to a couple of people already who I'm going to invite to come and play with me, and then I want to see who's in the room. I want to play a game called I Can Get You Any Client. I can get you any client. So who did I say I'd play with first? Greg, where are you? Will you come out? You want to play? Thanks. Yeah, perfect. Hey. So I don't know Greg. He replied to the post I put on the Facebook group saying, I'd love to coach some people in the room, and he wrote back. And you wrote a few things about life and business. How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing good. It's a little warmer up here.
It is. This is called a hot seat for a reason. It might get hotter. Feel free to take your jacket off.
Okay, great.
How can I support you? If we're going to play, I can get you any client or anything you like around your life or your business right now. If I was going to coach you, what would you like me to be coached on?
Speeding up the process of, creating a successful, sustainable company and not guessing every day whether or not, tomorrow is going to grow, or it's taken 4 years to get to, mediocre as far as I'm concerned. And it's like, I don't know if you noticed, but, it's kind of like...
So talk to me. Don't worry about them.
It's
just
kind
you
of
and me in
like
a
it's
conversation.
my time,
Yeah.
It's not like there's not enough time to create,
Yeah. So what does a mediocre game look like to you? 4 years into starting your coaching practice, what does it look like? How much revenue did you generate in the last 12 months?
To date, $72,000 this year. So I'm on board to create 6 figures this year.
Okay, so $72,000 and it's August.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you might not realize is that already puts you in the top 10% of coaches.
I heard you say that yesterday, but I didn't, it didn't sink in,
Yeah. It's the reason I've given you guys a scorecard. That scorecard, take your time to have a look through it. The scorecard will help to, the rows are some of the mindsets and approaches to how to be an extraordinary coach, and the columns will help you to see where you are for each of those different mindsets. And so the row around income is what I'm talking to Greg about in this moment. Yeah, it's $72,000, 4 years in, only 8 months into the year. That's pretty amazing. And it's hard to see, right? Because especially online, the people who talk about 7-figure businesses in coaching are the ones who are the loudest, right? And you have a background of success in business. That's one thing I know, right?
Yeah, I had a building company until 2008. Mm-hmm.
And tell me about that building company.
That building company was from age 40 to 49, we did 18 million in sales. And in 2008, when the economy fluctuated, it was a good time to leave.
Yeah. Was that a hard time?
It was a real hard time. Yeah, I lost everything in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard being fired, but losing everything, it takes it to another level. I get it.
Yeah, it was devastating. I remember decorating the backyard for my daughter's graduation, and they were towing vehicles out of my driveway. Yeah.
I'm a dad, so I feel that one. Just tell me back into your business. $18 million but towards the end of it. 4 years in, what was business like?
In the building company?
Mm-hmm.
Probably 400,000, $500,000 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you feel back then? Did it feel like we're a complete success, or did it feel like we should be doing so much better?
Oh, no, it never felt like a success. Yeah, it didn't matter where I got. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, if I'm right, is that one of the mindsets that helps you to succeed in life is, if I don't feel like a success, then I have to take certain actions, do certain things, show up a certain way, and that leads to success.
Yes.
And it works, right?
Seems to, yeah.
So you not feeling like a success as a coach is what, at least until now, is the mindset that works for you. And you want me to take that away.
Yes, yeah. I never looked at it like that's the mindset I've created to achieve success.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, I know it so well. I spent most of my life trying to prove myself to my father. He didn't even know it. It was me. I was trying to prove myself to my dad. So I did exactly the same thing. I was always focused on being more and more successful, because then finally somebody will love me, somebody will approve of me. Is that a nod of recognition? Is that?
it really is a nod. The I am enough last night, that exercise was really powerful. It brought me back to the moments where I created, I wasn't. And I've done that exercise, I've noticed before, but I think what happens is along the way, lose track that it's taken me over again, you know?
So all we ever do as coaches, Blaine just told you, gave you the roadmap for this, is help your clients see what they can't see. And what's the biggest insight you've had so far? You've only been speaking 3 or 4 minutes. What's the biggest insight you've had so far?
That it's this restriction that I have about success is self-imposed, and I do it every morning. I wake up and then sentence myself to, you're not a success, thinking that it's going to forward whatever I'm up to.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have a sentence. We all have a sentence. We're living into a sentence. A sentence can be a grammatical construct in the English language, or it can be like a prison sentence. And our language creates our reality. And so every morning you wake up and say, I'm not a success, it creates your reality. Actually, it works really well for this man. It helps you get more and more successful. Now, in coaching, you couldn't see it because it sounds like...
I can see it over there with my clients. It's real easy.
Say more about that.
Well, I think I surround myself with clients with the same sentence so I can help them see that sentence, but I can't, when it comes back in over here, I can't see it. I don't have the ability to see myself.
Yeah, none of us can.
Yeah.
None of us can. That's why we need coaches or people in our world. I'm in a mastermind group. I'm in a men's group. I need people to hold a mirror up to me. And the more successful you become, the harder it becomes. Because you follow this path, you get to conventional success. The challenge you have is that everything you've done to be as successful as you are today is actually going to hold you back from what's truly possible. Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
So I could sit down with you and work out the steps you need to work on in your business and how to thrive as a coach. And we'd be sitting down in a year's time having the same conversation. I'm not successful enough, Rich. Because that's the mindset that's got you to where you are today. And I'm not knocking it because it's a really valuable mindset for you. We just got to look at, is that what you want to do or is there something different?
No, it's getting old real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's too familiar.
Yeah. So your real job as a coach is not to answer the questions they come to you with. It's the mistake coaches make. Michael Neal tells a lovely story. A man walks in to see a coach, and the coach says to him, what's going on? And he says, I want to grow my business. And the coach says, okay, cool. I think I know what you need. You need some PR support. You need internet marketing strategy. There's some. You need a vision. You need a mission statement. And they work together for an hour on the business. And the client gets up to leave, and the coach says, oh, by the way, I forgot to ask your name. What's your name? The client says, oh, my name's Jesus. That's our job. In the book, I call it the glimpse of genius. You've got to look for the genius in front of you. Jesus, whoever it is for you, look for that, not the story they're coming in with. And that's how we're playing right now. So let me ask you a different question. 3 years have gone by. I pick up the phone. Hey, Rich, it's Greg. It's been 3 years. Remember we sat on stage together at that event, and I shared some stuff with you. Well, these 3 years have been amazing. My life has transformed. Business, personal life, professionally, everything's transformed. What would you be telling me, Greg?
I don't know if I'd be coaching. I don't think I'd be coaching one-on-one as much as I am now. I'd be coaching groups, and I'd be coaching.
So let me just help you with this.
Yeah.
I want to take us in our time machine into the future.
Okay.
Will you talk to me right now as if we're literally on the phone? I'm going to pick up the phone in
Okay.
a second, and you're in present tense. You're telling me, wow, here's how you're going to begin. Are you okay with bad language?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're going to start with this. Holy shit, Rich. So, Greg, hi. I wasn't expected to hear from you.
Holy shit, Rich. I'm sitting in my log cabin in northern Michigan, and for the first time, I have my whole family together, and we're enjoying a holiday. It's actually a home that's large enough to support 25 people, and they're all staying here. And my kids I'm a grandfather now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And successful, and my business has kind of taken on a mind of its own. I don't do it if I don't want to.
Nice.
I only take on powerful people who are willing to be powerful in my presence. And that's the only clients I have. It's just, and I have, ongoingly 10 clients. And I like to be, I am speaking at least once a quarter somewhere in the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the insight you had back then 3 years ago when you sat on that stool, or maybe in the days and weeks that followed, that really shifted everything?
I think the insight is that without communication and somebody powerful in my life, I can't have that. Because I don't have the ability to see myself. And left to my own devices, I'm going to limit what's possible. And I really got it grounded 3 years ago.
Sounds like what you do for other people, you have someone who helps you do for yourself.
Yes.
Nice. So let's come out of that for a moment and just check in, because something just shifted. What was going on?
That thing, that drive disappeared. I was there. I wasn't driven to get somewhere. It was a reality. It wasn't hopeless. It wasn't, I think the fear was gone.
Yeah. Or is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. Here's the challenge we have. You can never have enough of what you don't really need. You can never have enough of what you don't really need. And our clients come to us with the thing that they think they need, and then as coaches we fall into the trap of helping them get more of what they think they want. And you become really powerful as a coach is when you don't listen to their story and you see what's really needed, and you help not tell them, but open the space for them to have their insight. And then they just shift.
Yeah.
Felt it in you just then.
Yeah, I felt it too.
Yeah. So here's the other piece in the art of coaching, is knowing when to take somebody off the hot seat. I think we're there right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I give you a hug? Carlin, want to play? Thanks. Put your hands together for Carlin. Hey.
Hey.
What are you feeling in your body right now?
I am shaking right now.
Yeah. I so know that one. And you speak on stages sometimes, right? Is that right?
I speak on stages quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It doesn't help. I still shake when I come on stage.
No.
Right. I get it. And it's kind of weird because there's people watching us, but if for a moment we can put a little bubble around us and allow yourself just to sink in just a little bit, as if there's nobody here, just you and me.
Okay.
Cool. How should we play? How can I serve you best right now?
So I quit my job in December.
Just hold it back.
Quit my job in December after I built my business for about 3 years, kind of on the side, just not even really bringing that much money. I mean, I think I made maybe 20 grand the first year, like doubled that the second year. Got to a place where I hated my job and gave my boss the middle finger one day and walked out.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's an interesting story. And I'm pausing you. What's going on?
Go ahead.
Is there something coming?
No, I was just going to say, and then the business took off.
And do you remember the question I asked you?
How can you serve me?
Yeah. So
I'm
I don't
getting that.
actually need the story right now.
Okay.
I don't actually need it even if we were sitting down and we had 2 hours. There I might give you a little bit more space for it. But particularly because we don't have a lot of time right now, I don't actually need that story at all. Now, don't get me wrong. Just stay with me for a second longer, right? Because I know that story is important to you. I know that quitting a job, doing what you've done, there must be a sense of pride, there must be some scary moments in that story, there must be some excitement in that story. And I get why you might want to share it, and I'd love to hear it. And in this moment right now,
Well, I mean, I guess.
so hang on a second,
Okay.
because we need to be with one another right now. What are you feeling in your body in this moment?
Oh, look, I'm shaking.
Yeah. Where are you feeling that the most strongly? Your heart? Is it pounding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to do is give you some space to slow down and just to be with one another. Yeah. I acknowledge you. You sent me that email I read about what you've done. It's pretty damn cool. And I know you want to tell some of that story. And even in this moment, just tell me, let's ask the same question I asked Greg. I pick up the phone, 3 years have passed by, and you say, holy shit, Rich, life's amazing. What would you be telling me about?
Holy shit, Rich.
Nice.
I have clients that keep coming back to me. I have an amazing house on the beach with my husband. I have all the freedom in the world to do exactly what I want to do every single day with no one to answer to except myself.
Freedom is such a big value of mine, so I really get that. Yeah. What was the insight that you had when we sat on that stage 3 years ago that shifted everything?
I think it's that that wanting that freedom is okay.
So back then, there was a story that it wasn't okay to even desire that freedom?
Well, and that's exactly, I never expected the business to take off that quickly, and it's now to the point where it's encroaching on my freedom. And a great problem to have, and I feel kind of like a heel for even saying this is the problem. But
Well, I like this. I work with top performers. And the thing about top performers is we have all these guilty secrets that we can't say out there. We have these quality problems that if we said to other people, I wish I had your problems. And so we keep this stuff inside of us. And so I get it. And that's that sense of feeling very alone when you're at a high level of a conventional way of living life. So I feel that one. So how can I support you around that right now?
that's a very good question. I'm not sure I know the answer.
Me too. But the cool thing is, being a coach, I don't have to have the answers for you. I trust that we'll get there when we need to. So freedom, been a value of yours for a long time?
Yes.
I had a really overprotective mother who used to fuss over me and take care of me. Now I'm a dad, I have so much compassion for her, but back then it was a nightmare. Now I feel sorry for her when I used to not run off, but leave home as quickly as I could and just... But that's my story, and it was a filter through which I saw life. So I created freedom the way that I needed to, but it was because I was living out of that old story. Where's this desire for freedom come from?
I had a string of really awful bosses at jobs, to the point where they were absolutely narcissists and bullies, and they made my life very, very difficult for a lot of years. And so it started with wanting to never have to deal with that again.
Yeah. I know that one. It's very similar. It was the third boss in a row who showed up with some of those qualities. Then I knew, this is about me, not them. 2 bosses in a row behaving like that this is a coincidence. This is not fun. The third boss, and I realized, I'm really attracted to very powerful people who make a lot of things happen. And what I never saw at the time, I wasn't looking for, was the dark side. And to be powerful in life and business, sometimes there's a dark side that goes with that. And I didn't see it, or was blind to it, and then I felt the impact of it. And I've learned to do things differently, but I saw how I was actually creating that in my world.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, I feel like I lost myself in all of those situations.
Yeah. Is that painful?
Oh, it's incredibly painful.
Yeah. Well, what's the pain?
I mean, when I came out of the last one, which was the last job I had, I really didn't even feel like I knew who I was anymore.
Yeah. Pain of loss. Like I've even lost myself.
Mm-hmm.
Any hurt in there?
Oh, incredible amount of hurt. Like, if I was good enough, this wouldn't have happened to me. What more could I have done? When there was really nothing I could have done. And I know that now.
Any humiliation in there? Embarrassment?
I don't think, not so much because of the way I left. I think I kind of reclaimed a lot of that. I mean, there was in the past with another job that I got fired from that it was very humiliating.
Yeah. Let me offer you a distinction around freedom. Most people are seeking freedom from my boss, freedom from my job, freedom from my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, freedom from my kids, if I only had more time, freedom from debt. This is a 3-level distinction. You can move beyond freedom from to freedom to. Mm-hmm. That's a life changer. Freedom to have a job that I love, freedom to make an impact, freedom to travel wherever I want to, whenever I want to. And then there's a level beyond that, and that's freedom. Mm-hmm. And that's not freedom from, or it's not even freedom to, it's the freedom that's inside of you, that you have access to in any moment. What do you hear when I share that distinction?
I think that I feel like I know that in theory, and that's certainly something that I strive for. And I know that it's out there, and I guess I don't know how to get myself there.
Well, see, it's in your language. It's not out there. That's why you can't find it. It's in there.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, here's the problem with a new distinction. It's like we're both wearing glasses, and now that I've said that, you'll suddenly be aware of the frames. You'll actually see them in your field of view right now. But in a few minutes' time, we'll move on and you'll forget that, and we just don't notice it, right? When you share with somebody a distinction, it's like for the first time, they realize they're wearing glasses. Or maybe even you've helped them see, wow, there's a world out there that looks different when I take them off. And the problem is we're used to wearing them. So we pick them up and put them back on constantly, and we have no clue we're doing it. So when you're working with clients, that's what you're helping them do, see that the world actually looks differently. And then they put them back on. And it's so quick and it's so almost unnoticeable for them, if not for you as a coach. And what we did just then with that distinction, and even that realization, even your language, is, oh, I know it's out there. Actually, what if it wasn't out there? What if it was inside of you? Here's one of the things I do when I'm a coach and I'm working with a client. I can promise any client we're going to have a life-changing conversation. And coaches sometimes say to me they're afraid of saying, how can I say that? I don't know how I can do that. Well, if you're working around insight, then if you help a client have an insight, have a new distinction about life, that's transformational. That will change their world. Whether or not they act on that on a day-to-day basis is up to them. But you just had a life-changing insight. You might need support on that journey. We often do. You might need a lot of deep reflection on a regular basis, or some practices to sustain you in that. But that moment when you began to get, I kind of get it, that was when your life shifted.
Yeah. But some reminders every now and again are probably helpful. Because you lose it the minute you go back to work, I think.
Who loses it?
Well, I lose it the minute I go back to work.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
I think that, you get so caught up in the day-to-day of
Who does?
I get so caught up in the day-to-day of everything that I have to accomplish that day, or how or helping the people that I'm coaching, or doing all the things I need to do, that I know that it's true, but it gets lost very easily in the context of everything.
Tell me, are you one of those givers who give and give and give, and it's worked for you?
To a certain extent, I've learned to set boundaries lately.
And I hear you say the word lately. Have I got some sense of that's who you are? If you're not careful, you'll just give and give and give.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's one of the distinctions around the givers who succeed versus the givers who struggle. The givers who struggle give it all. The givers who succeed give their all. So if I'm in a coaching conversation, I'm going to give you everything I can give in that moment, the same as if you paid me $100,000. You had a fly on the wall in my office, you would have no clue when I'm speaking to somebody, whether they were somebody new I'm speaking to for the first time, spending 2 hours with, or a client who's paying me for my time. I give my all in that moment, and then I find ways to take care of me in between.
Yeah. And that's what my coach has forced me to start doing that. He hasn't forced me, but he's pushed me very strongly in that direction in the past couple months. Make sure that I have balance, and I'm doing creative things, and I'm doing things that, it's funny, when I first started coaching with him, he gave me an assignment to go have fun. And I had no idea how to do that. Literally had no idea what to do. I went on the internet, I posted, guys, my coach told me to have fun. I have no idea. Give me some ideas.
I can so relate to that. It sounds funny. So relate to it. I hear a yes in the audience too. Because my fun is my work. I used to be a teacher. I loved my work. I'd start work at 7 in the morning. I'd finish 9, 10 o'clock at night. I worked 6 days a week. And now I'm a coach. I absolutely love it. I totally get that. That's my fun. And it's what got us here won't get us there. Everything you're doing that's got you to the level you're at today is going to hold you back from your next level of success. The only way to take a business beyond where you are right now, when you are the business, and right now in a coaching practice, the way you have it, you are the business, is to find ways to take care of you. And I bet this is your gift with your clients, right?
Yeah.
What were you thinking of just then?
I was thinking that it just seems so easy to talk about it, but actually doing it is the thing that I have trouble with.
Yeah, because we get the insight, and it's abstract or it's a concept, and then we have to apply it. Look, I'm in a men's group. I've been in a men's group for 7 years. These are powerful men. One's literally a rocket scientist. One's one of the top headhunters out in the world. These guys play a big game, and the only reason I'm in that men's group is they see through my bullshit. I can say stuff to other people that impresses them. I've created a men's group with a group of powerful men who either don't buy my stories that everyone else does, or call me out on things that would impress other people. 7 years, men's group. I'm in a mastermind group right now. I have my own coach. I'm constantly, the reason I created 4PC, the group Ajit mentioned, is that it's a group of the top 4% of coaches. I created a group for me. I wanted some of the most powerful coaches in a room to be there so that they could challenge me and work with me. Always find a way to get paid to do what you need or love.
For real.
So I've got all sorts of support structures in my life. Would you be willing, over the next couple of days, come and see me on the last day, to reflect on, well, I've had this insight. What might I need right now to support me in this?
Yeah, definitely.
And how would that feel if by the end of the weekend you had some support structures?
That would be pretty amazing.
Cool. sometimes, not sometimes, actually almost always, when I'm there, when I think I'm there, I have a practice of going deeper still, because it feels like we're there. And so I'm going to just check in and go a little bit deeper. What would we have missed if you got off the stage now? Where wouldn't I have gone? What's the deeper cut we haven't yet gone to? The thing you don't want to say. Yeah, that one.
That I think one of the things that really holds me back is the way I have my business set up. I am not at all the face of my business. People know my name, but people don't really, like, if you look at any of my marketing, anything else, I'm really not the face of it. And I think that I'm incredibly afraid to put myself out there like that, even though I know it's something that I need to do.
And that's a big one for you, right?
It's a big one.
See what happens when you're willing to go where it looked like I was done. So you're pretty bold coming up here then. Because this is your edge, being out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know the truth of that. I don't know where sometimes it's useful to be the face of our business, sometimes it's not necessary. But it sounds like there's something there for you.
I think to do some of the things that I want to do, because I really enjoy the keynote speaking. I really enjoy it. It's super, super fun. Not like this at all. I feel like I need to put myself out there and my face out there to be able to do more of the things I want to do, essentially.
And it's scary?
What's that?
And it's scary to do that?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'll get up on stage in front of a room full of people and be fine. But it's just putting it out there in the marketing. It doesn't feel good.
Well, I can tell you why. You're human. Throughout most of human history, until maybe 2 generations back, 1 generation back, we lived in tribes, and if you said anything that the tribe disagreed with, they either killed you or they banished you from the tribe, in which case you died. So, you've got it past that fear of public speaking, but that's a good example of it. Most of us are terrified of public speaking because actually, when we stand up in front of a crowd, that statistic, people say they're more afraid of public speaking than of death.
Yeah.
No, they just misunderstand something. They're actually afraid if they stand and speak in front of a crowd, they'll die. It's at a really deep level. And you've worked on that one. But you've got the same thing going on. It's very, very human, and it makes real sense. And every part of your system that's designed to protect you is trying to protect you right now. Because if you put your voice out there online, if you have a face and a presence out there online, some people might not like you. And that's
Oh,
hard.
God, ain't that the truth? Yeah. I give way more attention to the people that don't like me and don't like what I have to say than I should.
Oh, yeah. That's why Facebook is insidious for me, because I'll count how many likes I get on a post, and then I'll get one person who disagrees with me, and I'll shut down for a week. It's very human.
It's very true.
What if there was nothing you needed to change about that at all? What if it's just noticing on a regular basis, oh, that's that thing that I do to protect myself. Somebody doesn't like me, and I'm feeling it. And just breathe into it and let yourself feel it, and just remind yourself that's because I'm human.
And not everyone has to like me.
In fact, where's Yazan? We were talking the other day, Yazan, about this idea that our job is to polarize people. If you want to be successful in business, in a way, your job is to polarize people. And people will either love you or they'll hate you, but there's no money in between.
You know what? I do that really well.
Good. Good. People will either love you or they'll hate you, but there's no money in between. And the way I've framed that is there's no desire in between. And the other insidious thing about Facebook is we want likes. You don't want likes if you want to create a great business. Likes don't do anything for you. They're the maybes. You want hell yeses and hell nos. Maybes, there's no such thing as hell maybe. You want hell yeses and hell nos. So let me check in with you because I'm going to move on in a second. What would you need around this idea to be complete in this moment?
I mean, you might have just given it to me, to be honest, to know that I think it's easy to say it's okay if people don't like you, but at some point you need to kind of internalize that, okay, if they don't like you, part of the people, that's a good
Could you
thing.
say all of that again, but use the word
Yeah.
me instead of you? Because that will really
Okay.
take it in.
To internalize that
So start at the beginning, you said it's okay.
it's okay that not only is it okay that people don't like me, it might be ideal for my success.
Huh. Nice. Look, I tell you right now, there's probably some people out there who are watching us who don't like you or me. And no matter what we do or say right now, they still won't like us. And there's probably some people out there in that audience who are going to love us no matter what we do or say. And there's a whole bunch of others who don't even care who we are. Our job is to speak to the people who love us and then dive deeper with them and dive deeper still. I was talking to a couple of guys last night who are here who have multi-million lists, millions of people on their lists, and we were talking about marketing, and they were talking about new strategies to go wider and get more people on their lists, because in this day and age, that thing about lists is kind of, even in millions of people on your list, you still can struggle to build a business. And I said, I've gone in a different direction. Instead of going wide, I've gone deep. I've built a community of people who really love what I do. There are lots of people out there who don't even know I exist, but my community love me. They come back 10 times in a row to our intensives. They want to spend time with the community that I've built. And I wonder for you what fun that might be if it built a community of people who love you, a community of hell yes people. Because I felt the shift as you talked. You literally shifted in front of me. Because we're at time and I want to move on, I'm going to say thank you, Colin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich.
Can I give you a hug? Very bold. Thanks. Let's get mic runners, please. Any two people? Any insights? Any questions about the what just happened? What did you notice about me? About the client? Okay, thanks. Yeah. Thank you. And what's your name?
Hi, I'm Catherine Potter.
Catherine?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Catherine.
Yeah. Could it be about either of the two?
Whatever you like. Yep.
Okay. My insight about the first speaker was that where he was.
So let me pause you for a second. What I don't want to do, in a room full of coaches, I have a rule in when I do my events, no coaching without permission. No coaching without permission. And it's tempting to want to even just talk about what was going on for that person or the thing that you see. I'm not here, by the way, to be right or to have the way to coach. I coach my way. You have to find your way. So you could have sat here, any one of you could have sat here and taken each of those people in all sorts of directions and had life-changing insights with them. So let's stay off, in case you were going, you may not have been going there, but just I'm talking to the room right now. Let's stay off the insights you have for these people. And please, I ask for a request of you, that you don't go up to either of the people who've been on stage afterwards and say, hey, I have an idea for you. Or even, me too. Let them be in their experience. So go ahead, Catherine.
It brought me back to the Vishen's flow diagram of being happy in the now.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing that hit me about the conversation, is getting to that point of being.
Yeah, I mean, underneath it all, that's what we're doing, right? When I run my events, I do 2 events a year based on the book. I do 2 events a year based on the book, The Prosperous Coach, and people come because they want to build their business as a coach. And one of the first things I say when they come in the room, I said, I'm sorry, this has been a bait and switch. Because we're not going to work on how to build a business as a coach, or at least not the way that most of you have come in. That's in the book. Read the book. We're going to work on who you are and who you be and how you show up in the world, because that's going to have the biggest impact on how you create clients and how you build a business. And then you put on top of that a layer of ideas and distinctions for enrolling clients, and everything will shift. So yeah.
Yeah, so that was the thing that struck me about that one. And what struck me about the second was her energy, the way, the body language, her energy, the way she was in her body. And there were a couple of times where I felt subtle shifts as she was speaking with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to self-acceptance. And
Well, let's not put a label on what it comes down to, but what you saw is really key. You saw what Blaine was talking about, the somatics. You saw her body. And if you learn how to be really present, you'll feel it in your own body too. I try and keep about 80% of my attention on the person over there and another 20% over here. Where you ever had a client when you notice at the end of them speaking, you're slumped in your chair or you're energized, you literally will feel it. So keep some of the attention on the inside and watch what happens to you, because it will give you clues what's going on over there. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. Yeah. What's your name?
My name's Amateo.
Amateo?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. I just was really struck by your pacing and the way that you slowed things down. And I saw that you created a lot of room and spaciousness for things to emerge, and a lot of, how does that feel in your body? And what was that thought you had just then? And I think that the pace and the way that you were creating the delivery just allowed for those kinds of questions to emerge. And I thought that was really compelling and inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. Let me address that, because it's hard being on a stage because I have a timer clicking away in front of me. And I'd normally work with someone like each of these two people for 2 hours, maybe an hour, but just really take them deep. And you see what happens when I'm willing to ask the question that doesn't feel like I need to ask. We go a layer deeper. So imagine going deeper and deeper still. Imagine creating that much space. Space is where miracles occur. Space is where miracles occur. If you're willing to create space in your life, create space to really listen deeply to the person in front of you. And I practice what I call slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up shifts everything. Thanks, Amateo. Thanks for noticing.
Sure thing.
Who wants to play? Who wants to play? I'm just reading the room, so keep your hands up if you want to play. In the yellow shirt over there, you want to come up? Give her a round of applause. And did we clap Carlin? I don't think we clapped Carlin, so let's give Carlin a round of applause. And just take that in. Hi. Scary, right? What's your name?
Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. So it's a bit unnatural, but just if you hold the mic
Sure.
about there, yeah. How can I support you? What do you want to play?
I am new to coaching. I recently found myself laid off in May. I am a corporate trainer. It's a natural thing for me to talk. If I'm happy usually when I'm talking, and I find myself giving everything that I've got, but oftentimes I'm in the layoff bunch, and I find
What does that mean? What's the layoff bunch?
I usually I'm in a sector of a business that gets laid off. So I'm usually in the service sector or training sector, and I'll find myself laid off after a couple of years. Or
So it's happened a number of times.
correct. This is my third layoff.
Ouch.
So being, but love what I do. I love to train. I love to.
So let me pause you again for the sake of time. How can I support you?
I would say that I need support in knowing that everything happens for a reason. I find myself laid off, but I think it's because I should be moving into my purpose, and it's terrifying
What's terrifying?
It is terrifying to figure out what that is, lean in, live it every day, when I'm used to being given content or being told what to say. So for me to step out on my own, in my own message, to really kind of evolve without having, I guess.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What if, let's assume for a second that Blaine was correct. I mean, he might not be, but let's assume that he's correct. What he told us is that you don't need a message. Your clients are the ones who you need to listen to.
To be quiet.
How would life change if...
To be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my challenge. I'm used to always talking.
Okay.
So for me to be quiet, to actively listen for that story, I think is also terrifying. Because I would rather just sit here and talk all day about whatever.
Fill the space.
Fill the space. But to really be present, to really receive, and to know that I'm doing that efficiently, I think is also terrifying. Everything is terrifying in my life right now.
Well, be careful with your language. We live into our language. Our language creates our reality. You said terrifying twice, and I don't see a terrified woman. And if you keep using that language, you'll convince yourself it's terrifying, but I don't experience you as terrified. You may be a bit unsure. You may have no clue how am I going to be quiet because I like to fill the space. You may even be a little bit scared, but I don't get terrified. So let's practice you being silent for a while and see how it lands.
Okay.
So, you up for that?
Yes.
Cool. Where's Nathan? I want to play with Nathan for a second. Can we get to Nathan, please? Can you just pass that back to him? Thank you very much. You can stay there, Nathan. Thanks. Thank you. How can I support you best?
That was unexpected. I was just thinking as you guys were talking, for me it's finding the courage to play full out as a coach and to, like I said to you last night, like I define myself by my full-time job, but I want to shift more into defining myself as a coach and, you know, and presenting what I believe. So I feel like I lack the courage.
You're listening deeply, right? We're doing this together. Okay, cool. Cool. I have a little bit of context because I spoke to Nathan at dinner last night, so I'm going to save a little bit of time. So your professional career until now, you're an airline pilot.
Yeah.
What size planes do you fly?
Big planes.
Give me a number so we kind of get a sense of 747. Is it? It's like a
767, yeah.
767, right? Anyone afraid of flying, like being on an aeroplane? There's some people. He flies the fucking things. So when I hear Nathan saying, "If only I had some courage," I know that doing things that need courage is not his thing. He does things that would scare most people. And if I'm right, you must be trained in scenarios that could be really scary to have everything you need to make sure that you make the right decisions in those moments when things could go drastically wrong.
Yeah, I think that's everything, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it possible then that courage is not the thing that's missing in this element here? Because you're a man who knows how to access courage when it's needed.
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now, I'm pulling his glasses off a little bit, and it's kind of hard for him. It doesn't quite compute. I would imagine most of you get it, but over there, he was like almost trying to please me just then. Yeah, I know you need to hear that, Rich, so I'll just say yeah. You want to be a professional coach.
Yeah.
And not a part-time coach, because there's value in being a part-time coach. Sometimes you need to burn your bridges. It's time to shift complete careers. That's what I did. I'd lost my job. I knew I didn't want to go back. I sold my house in London to put all that money into my training to allow myself to. I didn't need another client in that moment. I burnt my bridges. Sometimes that's right. Often it's not. Often it's doing it very slowly, the way you've been doing it. One client on the side, 2 clients on the side. How many clients do you have now?
5.
You've done it in a fantastic way. You've built up 5 great clients who you love, fee-paying clients.
Yeah.
And now, actually, your quality problem of, I've got a full-time job and it's getting a bit too much to be
Yeah,
a patient of my
exactly.
clients.
Yeah. I feel like if I had courage, I would. Like I feel like there's a part of me that my fear is that I'll stay in the job forever, longer than I should.
Jessica, what are you hearing behind the words? Is it almost as if we didn't pay attention to the words? What's really going on?
So when I hear you say courage,
Talk to me.
when I hear the word courage, I feel credibility. I feel, being able to walk into a situation where you're confident, you're able to fly a plane. It's what you know, and not necessarily courage, but credibility and confidence, and a quiet confidence to know that he can be just as successful as a coach as he is as a pilot. So it's not necessarily courage, but the credibility.
Nice.
And I think it's also empathy that's needed, understanding to know that that's okay. It's okay to walk into something and not fully understand how it's going to get done. And so it's not necessarily courage that he's lacking. I think it's a matter of credibility and also empathy that's needed.
Well, let's find out. How did that resonate? What did you get from hearing
Yeah,
that?
that was perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
So stay there for 1 second.
Sure.
Forget Nathan for a second. What do you get that just happened for you when you listen deeply?
Wow.
Just Mike.
Wow. Just being present. And it's all right to not have to talk all the time, and that there's so much power in silence and being able to receive what someone has to offer.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you're not necessarily
who's-
open, when I'm talking, I'm not open, and I can miss out on something that's trying to be there.
Nice. What do you need most right now, Nathan, in this moment?
Just to solve the inner conflict, one way or the other.
Is the inner conflict the decision? Can you feel the room right now, the quality of the silence? It's visceral for me. My body is tingling. I can feel this silence right now.
Yeah, it's possibly the decision. So if I choose to stay in this job, a way to be okay with that.
Does anyone have a coin on them? Somebody have a coin they could just bring to me? Thank you. Okay, got one. Thanks a lot. Heads and tails. Lovely way to help somebody when they think that the decision is what needs to be made. So, heads, you stay as a pilot, maybe continue doing part-time coaching. Tails, you quit.
Okay.
Okay, let it land. Okay, so don't say anything. It's landed. The decision's been made. What's going on in your body right now?
Well, it's the biggest decision in my life, I think. So it's, yeah.
Is there a hope that it's come down a particular way? Because here's the key, right? It doesn't matter what that says. You're going to tell them at some point, or it says you've got to quit, you've got to leave, you've got to stay, and they're going to go, okay, or they're going to go, oh. In that moment, they're going to feel what they really want. Can one of you tell us what it says, heads or tails? It's heads. Was that stay or go? I forgot. Stay. So that's it. decisions made, stay as a pilot, part-time coaching. What's going on the inside right now?
I'm disappointed, actually. I wanted the coin to make the decision the other way for me. Yeah, I don't want to have to make that decision, is what it feels, yeah.
Can you just, who's got the coin? Just toss it again. What did it come down as? Can somebody say what did it say?
Tails.
Great. Is there anything more you need right now, Nathan?
$50.
He knows. He knows. And I'm using a sense of playfulness to get him out of this story about what's needed and courage and so on. He knows. And sometimes in coaching, partly because my time's about to run out, but sometimes the biggest power you have as a coach is to take somebody off the hot seat. You want to come and check in with me later on in the next couple of days, I'm happy I'll spend a bit of time with you because I've done a little bit of fun in the way we've played with this. At the same time, my sense is you got what you needed just now. Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Rich.
Yeah, thank you. Did you get what you needed? Thank you. I hope you got what you needed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.